Welcome to LSB Feaster's Radio Aircheck and Classic TV channel.
Sir Thomas Lipton, born in Scotland on this day, 1850.
Sir Tom.
Started a small grocery store in Glasgow at the age of 19, a millionaire at 29, owned tea plantations in Ceylon at the age of 39.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he never did realize his major goal. His major goal, winning the America's Cup yachting trophy.
Was that really his
That was his big goal. So in 1930, the American public gave Sir Thomas a gold cup for being good sport.
A gold cup.
That's right. Which was only fair since it was Americans who first desecrated the precious tea by putting ice in it.
That's true.
And that was what happened with Sir Thomas Lipton.
It's 8 o'clock in Manhattan.
A lot of you people thought he just hung around and invented the flow-through tea bag.
But
you were wrong. And it's the Ross and Wilson Show setting you straight.
John Maher is here at 8 o'clock. And
you got to get some security people in here.
Tells us the lawmakers are defining their own districts today up in Albany.
John Maher, a former chief petty officer on the USS Walla.
Look for a real catfight today in Albany. Good morning. It's 61 degrees, sunny in New York. This is the 8 o'clock edition on WABC, New York's radio station. Why do we say catfight?
Just how Lilacs can tell you if it will rain or not at 8:30. Currently 50 degrees in White Plains, in Wantagh 54, and in New York City 61 degrees. I'm Rasa Kay, WABC Radar Weather.
8:09, 9 minutes after 8 o'clock Monday morning on the nearly famous Ross and Wilson Show. Joe has obviously been playing with his choo-choo again.
Hello? Hello?
Joe.
There it is. Hello.
Joe, you work.
It works.
Joe, I keep telling you got to put a quarter in it.
I know. I keep
just like on the Garden State. Just throw a quarter in the big basket there, and the thing will work fine for 2.5 minutes.
That's my raise.
That's right.
Inbound Grand Central Parkway, bumper to bumper from LaGuardia to the Triborough. You have no idea how much trouble I may be in for saying that. Inbound Triborough Bridge is stopped out of Queens. A disabled truck in the right lane on the Queens side. Private construction truck in the right lane with rear wheel problems. Don't worry about it. There's no problem with the bridge. Inbound Triborough, again, is really in bad shape. From LaGuardia, right on up onto the Triborough Bridge, off the Grand Central, up and onto the span, a private construction vehicle with some rear wheel problems. He is off, apparently, in the right lane, causing all kinds of difficulties. The drive, a mess, 130s down through the 60s. 9W, only a mile and a half to the George Washington Bridge, a bumper-to-bumper delay. The reason I say only a mile is because the Palisades Interstate Parkway is bumper-to-bumper for 5 miles. Approaching the George Washington Bridge. Bad news on the PIP. Inbound George itself, 25-minute delay from 80, 4 and 46, only 15. Holland, from 1 and 9, a 40-minute delay from the Turnpike, about 25. And if you're traveling inbound at the Lincoln, a 30-minute delay. Staten Island Expressway, a 3-mile delay to the Narrows Bridge. Well, that's about 25 minutes or so. Mass transit's all on or close. I am Joe Nolan with WABC Shadow Traffic.
77 WABC. It is 8:11, 11 minutes after 8 o'clock on your nearly famous Ross and Wilson Show. At 9 o'clock this morning, Ron Lundy and Dan Ingram in the WABC version of the Swan Song. 9 o'clock right here. 77 WABC. I really like that.
The Pointer Sisters.
You remember we met them down in Atlanta?
Yes.
What
nice
a
ladies.
nice group. Nice ladies. I tell you, what a great song, too.
Oh, yeah.
Nice 60s sounding thing there.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here we are, quarter after 8 on the final Ross and Wilson Show.
Yes. Coming up in just a moment, these things that you save may reveal your personality.
Until tomorrow.
Well, yes.
What?
The things you save may reveal your personality.
I was just talking about the last Ross and Wilson Show.
I know that.
You didn't say any more about it.
Well...
There's people out there saying, you mean those guys are leaving? Whoopee.
Well, not exactly.
It's the last one that we're doing from 5 till 9 tomorrow. Those of you who get up later will be able to enjoy, and I say that word advisedly, the Ross and Wilson Show all the way up until 10 o'clock.
Yes, by the way, tomorrow morning from 9 to 10, we have a special guest on the phone with us.
Ruth Gordon.
Ruth Gordon.
Will be kicking off the new Ross and Wilson Show on Wednesday.
Hello.
Jack Anderson.
Yes.
Jack Anderson will be with us. On Friday, Nicholas Deek of Deek Pereira.
Yes.
Gold People.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring my Krugerrands and have them look them over.
Yes. Tonight on WABC, the Yankees take on the Oakland A's and Reggie Vision. Yankee baseball brought to you in part by Kentucky Fried Chicken, where they do chicken right, and by your New York, New Jersey Subaru crew.
Oh, boy.
Don't forget to tune in for
They do
Phil
chicken right, too.
Phil and Bill, Frank and the boys. Pre-game show at 10:15. First pitch at 10:30 here at 77 WABC.
Lately,
Every airline and its brother seems to be talking about its unbeatable fares. But when you get down to the fine print, that usually means they can match some fares to some places under some conditions. It all gets very complicated. You may also have noticed that a lot of those fares they're trying to match are Piedmont's, and they can't always do it. Take the Piedmont Hopscotch fare. It saves you 50% round trip to some cities with almost no restrictions. Other airlines have tried to copy it naturally, but they haven't been able to improve on it. In fact, you'll find all of Piedmont's special fares are hard to improve on and very easy to get. For some clear, simple answers about some of the best fares anywhere, just call Piedmont or your travel agent. You'll find that we make flying for less a lot less complicated.
Piedmont Country, we're flying you there.
Driving home last night when I see a white glow about 400 feet up ahead. The closer I got, the brighter the glow, so I slowed way down. That's when I saw the dog. That glow was his collar reflecting my headlights. Lucky he wore that Hearts collar, or I never could have stopped in time.
Protect your dog or cat right now with the Hearts 2-in-1 Plus Nighttime Safety Reflecting Collar, the first flea and tick collar that reflects oncoming car headlights and kills fleas and ticks for 5 months. The Hearts 2-in-1 Plus Reflecting Collar. Now the Hearts Flea and Tick Killer can be a lifesaver too.
77 WABC.
Ross and Wilson alert. Ross and Wilson alert. Whoop, whoop. It'll be for Channel 4 tonight, a live at 5 program, 5 o'clock. Ross and Wilson go on TV tonight.
Yes.
Wow, it's about time. We've been trying to get on TV for years.
Yes.
I think we ought to have a regular series.
Well, we were on Cable News Network for a while.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah, but we need a regular series.
Mm-hmm.
We got a hell of a lot of talent just to be cooped up in here for 4 hours.
Well, that's true.
There's the whole rest of the day.
Yes.
After all.
Mm-hmm.
We got a lot of good ideas.
Brian?
Strip Bridge, one of my favorite card games. We could play that on TV. That'd be a first.
Brian.
Oh, hi.
Thank you. The things you say may reveal your personality.
The things I save may reveal my personality.
Yes.
For example.
Well, say you save baby shoes.
Baby shoes?
Baby shoes are very nostalgic, and
they certainly are.
If you save them, you're family-oriented. You have happy memories of when your family members were young, and in general, you feel life was good for you.
Well, I don't save baby shoes.
Maybe you save old, out-of-style clothing.
No.
If you do, you're an eternal optimist.
Eternal optimist, yes. You expect that stuff to be recycled back into style again.
Exactly right.
They're also cheap.
Thrifty and practical, that's right.
Right.
Don't make many mistakes because you've learned from the past.
Learn from the past, yes. And anytime you need a lesson, you just go into your closet and look around.
Let's say you save canceled checks and receipts.
Well, that just means you're afraid of an audit.
That's right. Also well-organized, logical, down-to-earth person.
And scared to death.
In control and rarely lose your temper.
No, yes.
Well, that's not you, definitely.
That leaves me out,
yes.
But I do save a lot of, I save all my checks and receipts.
I know that.
Got to. You never can tell when they may come after you.
Some people save old photos.
Old photos.
If you save old photos.
I got photos of my kids.
You've had a lot of good times, and you enjoy remembering them.
Pictures of my old girlfriends.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. And one picture of my old wife.
And,
of course, it's kind of modeled now since I've been hit with the dart so many times.
And I know you're one of those people that saves old address and phone books.
Absolutely.
You feel that
You remember my Little Black Book, Volume 1.
You feel that the old ways are often the best. So you're slow to change.
I don't know about that.
You like antiques and would rather fix an old item than buy a new one.
Not entirely, so I'd prefer a fresh young item as opposed to an old antique.
And if you save old love letters,
I do that. I do save all. In fact, I've got a pile of them in a drawer back at the house right now.
You're definitely a romantic.
I am a romantic.
You believe in love.
I do believe in love.
And you cry at sad movies.
I
know. Let's not go too far.
Yes.
You still remember your first date with fondness.
As a matter of fact, I do.
And your first...
I remember one of my first dates.
Yes.
I started so young, I really don't remember which would be classified as my first date.
Right. I don't think we need to go into this any further.
How about the girl I took to dancing class when I was going to Packanack Lake Elementary School? Would that count?
Suffice to say...
How about Judy Brown? Do you remember? I remember Judy Brown. I had a crush on her in the first grade.
Brian.
The only thing I remembered was that she got off the bus at Lions Head Lake.
Brian.
That's all I can remember.
Suffice to say, you're not afraid to take chances.
She had big brown... What?
It's the Ross and Wilson Show.
Did I ever tell you that I knocked a girl's tooth out on a bet one time when I kissed her on the cheek in third grade?
20 minutes after 8 o'clock, and as long as we're speaking about sports...
She's married now and living down in Virginia, I found out.
Here's Steve McPartland with...
She's glad she's not nearby as an adult right now. I could cause permanent damage.
I'll look at the weekend sports.
But my technique has improved somewhat.
Good morning, Steve.
Oh, hi, Steve.
Good morning, boys. Yankees winners in Seattle last night, 3-0. Tommy John, the winner. He's now 2-4 on the season. TJ turned in 8 innings, a 4-hit ball before the Goose came on in the 9th to strike out the side. A 2-run home run by Oscar Gamble. His first of the year gave TJ some breathing room. Oscar's first round tripper of the season, as I said already. More on Yankee replay at 8:50. The Mets winners at Shea, 650 over San Francisco. And what a way to do it. Bottom of the 9th inning, the score tied at 5-all. Rusty Staub at the plate with 2 outs, pinch hitting. Giant star reliever Greg Minton on the mound. The pitch, bye-bye, baby, into the right field bullpen for the Met victory. Dave Kingman hit his 11th of the year earlier in the game. Greg Swan got the win in relief. The Mets host the Padres tonight, Jones against Welsh. NBA playoff action, the conference championships in the East. The Celtics beat Philadelphia 121-81.
Whoa! Holy cow!
In the West, it was Los Angeles over San Antonio, 128-117. Tennis at the Westside Tennis Club, Yvonne Lendl, an easy winner over Eddie Dibbs, 6-1, 6-1 for the Tournament Players Championship. And boxing, the career of undisputed welterweight champ Sugar Ray Leonard is in jeopardy. Ray underwent surgery to repair a detached retina in his left eye yesterday morning. The operation is a success, but whether or not Ray will ever be able to fight again remains to be seen.
What about hockey?
You guys are trying to fool me. Nobody played hockey last night.
No, but they played
However,
Saturday.
The Islanders, what a game!
That was incredible.
There's an echo in here.
I know that.
That was incredible. 2 seconds left. Mike Bossy's third goal of the night,
shot.
And the Islanders
Great
win.
Shot. And that one where he came around behind and flipped it in when the goalie was on his fern looking the other way was an incredible shot.
That was the Islanders in 4 straight. They're going to win in 4 straight. Don't let that overtime, the fact that Vancouver took them in overtime, fool you. Islanders going to blow them out next time.
They just want to get their money's worth. That's all.
Yeah, that's probably it.
23 minutes after 8 o'clock. Steve will be back at about 10 minutes to 9 with Yankee Replay here on the Ross and Wilson Show.
In the news headlines at 8:30 as the mayor unveils his $15 billion budget today, contract talks with city employees continue. We will discuss that with Art Athens right before his nibs.
Harold Cosell.
Coming up at 8:30. Brian?
Well, we got a lot of bad traffic for you this morning. Traffic on the westbound Grand Central, heavy from Cross Island to 168th, then backing up all the way from LaGuardia Airport onto the Triborough Bridge. Inbound Triborough, a dead stop. You may be asking, why is that? I say, you may be asking, why is that?
Oh, that's my cue. Why is that, Brian?
I'm not going to tell you.
Wait a minute.
Yes, I am. Because of a disabled truck in the right lane. Your best route is to exit onto the southbound BQE, then take Queens Boulevard to the 59th Street Bridge. Pretty difficult to do if you're stuck right in the middle of the bridge right now.
Really?
Then your only shortcut is straight down.
Yes.
Barring that, hit the Queens Midtown Tunnel, got a 15-minute wait into the tolls there.
Why is that?
I have no idea. And if I did, I wouldn't tell you anyway.
Oh.
So shut up and let me get finished with this. Eastbound on the Staten Island Expressway, traffic is heavy for 3 miles onto the Verrazano Bridge. 25-minute wait. 10-minute going outbound to the tolls. Brooklyn Bridge, bumper to bumper to bumper because of an earlier accident on the FDR Drive. Manhattan Bridge, the upper deck is heavy from Midspan to Manhattan. A bad morning on the Nueva Jersey crossings. Southbound Palisades Interstate Parkway. That's the way I come in the morning. Jammed for 5 miles. That's almost all the way back up to Alpine.
Why is that?
You see, they got this work going on down there, and things are really screwed up.
Oh.
In fact, the whole situation is screwed up around the George Washington Bridge. Southbound Route 9W is better, but it is backed up for a mile and a half. Route 80, a 25-minute wait into the tolls. Routes 4 and 46 with 15-minute delays. Inbound Holland, 40-minute delays from routes 1 and 9, half an hour from the Turnpike.
Wow.
The Lincoln Tunnel also averaging a half hour. You know what it is? It's just, a lot of it's just major volume. People coming back from the big long weekend, Mother's Day and all that business. They said, let's not fight the traffic going in this evening.
Of course
Let's wait till tomorrow morning and we'll just go right to the office.
Good thinking.
And this is what happened.
Well, not in that case.
What a mess. Speaking of messes, Joe Nolan will be here in 10 minutes with another Shadow Traffic Update.
Why is that?
The Ross and Wilson Show.
I don't know. If you're out and around town, don't forget there's a lecture on how to deal with phobias. Perhaps you're afraid of elevators, scared of animals.
Elevators, an Otis phobia.
Have fear of heights. There's a lecture on how to deal with all that.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar phobia.
That's right. At the Blue Cross Blue Shield Health Education Center, Park Avenue and 34th Street. There's a lot of people that are like afraid of spiders or
booaphobia.
Booaphobia.
That's right. Little Miss Muffetophobia.
1 o'clock this afternoon. That's Park Avenue and at 34th Street.
Do you have any phobias?
Phobias?
Do you have any? You got to have a phobia. Everybody's got a phobia.
Sometimes I have claustrophobia.
When do you have claustrophobia?
Sometimes when I'm in an elevator where there's a lot of people, like going up to the Empire State Building observatory deck or something like that.
Yeah.
They get really, everybody's packed in those little tiny elevators, and you get sort of, the feeling everything closes in on you.
Do you ever have agoraphobia?
Agoraphobia? That's when you look out and you're afraid of seeing
wide open spaces.
Wide open spaces.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I have never had that.
Nobody in Texas has that problem.
I know. No. I understand there's a lot of housewives that have it, though.
And rightfully so.
Yes.
What other kind of phobias do you have?
Phobias. Well, I don't really have any other phobias.
No? You have incophobia? Incophobia.
Incophobia.
That's the fear of your ballpoint pen exploding in your pocket. You ever had that one?
I've never had that.
Never had that, did you?
No.
No.
I've never had anything like that.
No.
Blabophobia.
Never had that?
Nothing, no.
Checkorophobia?
Checkorophobia?
Yes, the fear of not being able to get a cab in a rainstorm.
I've never
had that one either?
Well, I've never
had a lot of people in New York have that
never
one.
had a fear of that. But there are times when I haven't been able to get a cab in a rainstorm.
Right.
Never checkorophobia, though.
No. Bronchophobia? You ever have that?
What?
That's fear of playing the Yankees at their home field. A lot of people have that phobia, too.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
Right.
Forecast today, bright sun and clouds this morning. The clouds will clear off by noon, and we'll have a high around 72. Clear to partly cloudy night, low 51, and currently 55 degrees in Manhattan on your nearly famous Ross and Wilson show.
Hey, you got a minute? It's me, Telly Savalas. And I know one thing for sure. America has found its better car, Ford Escort. It's knocking the socks off every car line in America, and that's based on actual manufacturers' reported retail deliveries. And America has found its better deal. The best deal being offered by any major car company. Ford Care coverage plus cash. For 2 years or 24,000 miles, whichever comes first, Ford Care gives you total coverage. Coverage on virtually everything. About all you kick in for is gas. Of course, Ford Care is a limited warranty, excluding things you'd expect like tires, fluids, accidents, and abuse. Take delivery between now and June 6th from your Ford dealer to get the cash and the coverage. Limit one car per customer. Upfront cash. Ford Care. Quality. Escort. Ford delivers, all right. But don't take my word for it. Just ask an Escort owner.
Quick, what was the name of the Indian chief who used to appear on the Howdy Doody show? For the answer to that trivia question, stay tuned to the rest of this commercial. My name is Joel Siegel, and questions like that are just part of my special report, Old Time TV Tune Into Yesterday, this week on the 5 o'clock Eyewitness News. In the report, we'll take a sentimental look at a phenomenon called television. We'll take a trip to Dutyville and see the flub-a-dub again. We'll take off with Captain Video and the Video Rangers. We'll show you clips of Patty Chayefsky's Marty, and we'll even have an occasional word from a sponsor.
So use Aircheck, boom, boom. The foaming cleanser, boom, 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 boom. Floats the dirt right down the drain, boom, 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 boom.
And following each segment, we'll give you a trivia quiz that'll test your knowledge of old-time television. So this week, join the Peanut Gallery by making sure your Dumont TV is tuned to Eyewitness News.
Kids, what time is it?
Sorry, Howdy, the 5 o'clock Eyewitness News on Channel 7. It's a special report that'll set television back 30 years. Oh, yeah, the answer to the Indian chief's name on Howdy Doody? Chief Thunderthud. Cowabunga, everybody.
Cowabunga, indeed. Isn't it amazingly coincidental that they would have Howdy Doody on the same program with Stormfield? I guess there is a similarity.
Well,
8:20 heads are the same.
Yes.
8:29, 29 minutes after 8 o'clock on your nearly famous Ross and Wilson show.
Oh.
Here is just about time for Art Athens. And by the way, folks, you probably have read about it in the paper. You've heard about it from friends.
Mm-hmm.
It's been whispered about from town to town and from coast to coast.
You mean
the big change here at WABC?
Ah, yes.
Starts today.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have Ron Lundy and Dan Ingram doing a special final farewell salute.
Salute, yes.
Starting at 9 o'clock, about 30 minutes from now. Two giants in the radio biz, moving on to bigger and better things.
Mm-hmm.
At high noon today, we will introduce you to some of the new features of our new programming.
That's right.
Not the least of which will be Peabody Award winner Art Athens, our news director.
Wow, what a deal!
And his special show, which will be going on for 1 hour, starts at noon today, and the rest of the crew will follow suit.
That's right.
And
in the meantime, it is 8:30, and
speaking of Art Athens,
time for the latest news.
Here he is now,
as the mayor unveils his $15 billion budget today. City employee contract talks continue, right?
Right, it's a big one, but it is carefully balanced. and New York City's new budget could mean some new taxes for you if you live or work in New York City. Good morning. It is 58 degrees and sunny in New York. This is the 8:30 edition on WABC, New York's radio station. Mayor Koch unveils his new $15.7 billion budget today. It's filled with ifs and maybes. By law, the budget must be balanced. It will be if the city gets the money from the federal and state government that is built into it. That's the maybe part. For instance, the city was counting on over $300 million more in state aid than it got. It isn't known whether the city will get $171 million in new income taxes, which the legislature has yet to act on. Now, Koch calls that necessary to close the budget gap. There are other question marks as well, but these are things the mayor and his staff will have to figure out. If the mayor doesn't get the money he needs from the state, he's calling for a 10% surcharge on the city's income tax. We'll find out more about that later today. Now, there are bargaining talks going on with the city's several uniformed unions, and we'll have that story in a minute. First, let's check on the weather. Here's Rossa Kay.
Kind of an on and off clouds and sunshine morning, Art, though we should be mostly sunny by about noon. A little breezy this morning as well. The high will make it up to about 70 degrees today. You may still need a sweater. Sunglasses certainly west of the city. Probably not even an umbrella later on. Those clouds look threatening, but they're clearing out. 61 degrees at WABC. The complete forecast after the news. Art?
Thanks, Ross. New York City's contract with its uniform unions runs out June 30th. Both sides are giving themselves plenty of time to iron out a new one. Talks are already underway. There's a Grand Canyon between what the city is offering, a 3% pay hike, and what the 5-union coalition wants, 10 times that, plus 10% tacked onto it for hazardous duty. June 30th will arrive all too soon. Nick Mancuso, president of the Firemen's Union, notes that when the city took men off equipment in 2/3 of the city's engine companies a few years ago, his people were shortchanged, and he aims to get that money back.
In 1975, the city unilaterally reduced the manning levels on 2/3 of the engine companies throughout the city, of which we received zero for. So I'm saying that our men are quite concerned. We are concerned as union leaders to ensure that the firefighters and police officers of this city are returned to the salaries commensurate with the services that they're providing.
It also sticks in Mancuso's craw that sanitation men make about $1,000 a year, more than cops and firemen who put their lives on the line every day. Tomorrow, voters in Newark and Union City, New Jersey, will cast ballots for mayor. 3 of the candidates have either been convicted or suspected of misconduct while in office. In Newark, 2 candidates, Mayor Kenneth Gibson and Earl Harris, have been indicted on charges they allowed a former council member to collect over $115,000 for no-show jobs. In Union City, voters will have to decide whether State Senator William Musto, convicted of influencing selling to the mob, should be reelected as mayor. Prices for beverages and snacks on the Long Island Railroad are rising by up to 50 cents to pay for more costly supplies. Railroad officials say the hikes will take effect today and should result in an estimated $114,000 increase in revenues. The Long Island Railroad has 60 afternoon and evening trains providing food and beverages, so you're going to pay a little more for that on-the-way home martini today. So yesterday was Mother's Day, right? Well, if you are a borough, you get a whole week. And this week it is the Bronx. Kathleen Maloney reports on Bronx Week.
This year, Bronx Week will be bigger and better than ever. Over 400 events are scheduled, including street fairs with music, dancing, and food, art and photo exhibits, lectures, parades, and best of all, Borough President Stanley Simon says residents are more enthusiastic than ever.
After about 15, 16 years of the Bronx going down, hearing about it, in the 1980s now, we finally turned that corner, and you can feel it, you can see it, you can hear it, you can smell it, that the climate is right now for the Bronx to move again in the right direction.
As the new saying goes, the Bronx is bouncing back. Kathleen Maloney, WABC News.
Now here's a fish story, sure to make your mouth water and your accountants and your friendly neighborhood IRS agents. Oswego County had its annual Lake Ontario Fishing Derby, and there were indeed 3,876,000 fish submitted for consideration. There was a 12-pound brown trout, a 14-pound rainbow trout, and a 12-pound salmon. But the real prize fish, the one everyone wanted to catch but couldn't, a brown trout, with a tag around its neck worth $100,000. That's the prize that was offered to the lucky fisherman who hooked the fish, but alas, almost 4,000 fish caught in 58 hours and no big $100,000 prize. But if you're fishing up in Lake Ontario and you hook onto a trout with a tag on its neck reading Freedon $100,000, it's still worth $500, even though the contest is over. Quite a sport, fishing. Speaking of which, it is time for sports. Here's Howard Cosell.
The ultimate decision as to whether or not Sugar Ray Leonard will ever fight again will be Leonard's and nobody else's. But the important thing is, will his eyesight be restored to normality? Retinal surgery yesterday by that brilliant surgeon, Dr. Ronald Michaels, who once performed similar but more extensive surgery on the left eye of Ernie Shavers, was performed yesterday on Leonard's left eye. And Mike Trainer, in discussing the ultimate decision, Mike being the brilliant lawyer who has handled the affairs of Leonard superbly well, is exactly right. Leonard will make the decision. In the meantime, remember this. Mike Trainer told me on national television September 13th last that Leonard already possessed a net worth of $10 million. His wife, Juanita, has wanted him to quit for a long time. And Leonard himself is not enamored of the professional boxing sport as a way of life. Had circumstances in his home been different, he never would have become a professional fighter. So, amidst all the pious utterances about what athletes owe the fans, evidence again of how an extraordinary young athlete's career in sport can turn about overnight. And Leonard is all of that. One of the finest athletes I have ever seen. A super athlete, a superstar. Despite the early criticisms of the print medium, who didn't know what they were talking about, it became clear at the Montreal Olympics that this man was indeed to become the greatest. I'll be back in 60 seconds.
I'm Dr. Sylvia Earle. I hold a record for the deepest solo dive in the open ocean, 1,250 feet. Down there, you want to be guaranteed everything will go right. When you're making a household move, you want guarantees too. And Allied Van Lines can guarantee the price they quote is the price you pay, that your move is on time, and your possessions are protected on any size interstate move. Call your Allied agent for details. When you move with Allied, you move with confidence. Guaranteed.
With a pro at MIC. With Motors Insurance Corporation. The General Motors Car Insurance Pros. Get your insurance where you buy your car. 10,000 GM dealers coast to coast. Sign with the pros, sign with the pros. That's MIC. Sign with the pros.
Back to the sports scene, quickly the routine. The Lakers in Boston each won their opening games of the new NBA playoff series. Major League Baseball in the National League, the Cards lead by 4.5, Atlanta by 3, the American League, Boston by 2.5, Chicago and California in a virtual tie. Yvonne Lendl made a shambles of Eddie Dibbs in tennis. This is Howard Cosell. Here's Joe Nolan for Shadow Traffic.
Howard, on the Throgs Neck and Whitestone Bridges, Bronx bound, both about a 20-minute delay. Very heavy traffic approaching Little Neck Bay on the Cross Island. If you're traveling north on the Whitestone Expressway, heavy Linden Place right on up to the area of the Whitestone Bridge. If you're traveling inbound on the Grand Central or the LIE, both very, very heavy traffic in the normal spots. And then getting up onto the Triborough, extra heavy leaving Queens, an earlier disabled truck. Northbound on the FDR Drive, very heavy around the Manhattan Bridge. If you're traveling inbound on the Manhattan, use the lower deck. That would be better. Inbound Brooklyn Bridge, still extra heavy heavy. Worst spot most certainly around the area is inbound from New Jersey. A 30 to 40-minute delay getting down to the George Washington Bridge on the Palisades Parkway. The inbound GWB itself, 80 to 95, doing about 25-minute delay, 446, about 15 to 20. Inbound Holland Tunnel from 1 to 940 from the Turnpike, 25, 30 to 35 at the Lincoln. And paths scattered 10-minute delays from Newark to the World Trade Center. So that is shadow traffic at 840. And now here is Rasa K with WABC's radar weather.
Well done.
Thank you.
61 degrees in New York City, Joey. We have kind of a patchy morning of different kinds of sky conditions. West and north in New Jersey and Rockland, plenty of sunshine, and that'll be the story all day. The high about 70. In the New York City boroughs and up into Westchester, some clouds, still lingering, some sunshine. The high also near 70. The further east you go, the cloudier it'll be. It'll be gray for most of the morning. The high out in eastern Long Island, Connecticut, in the 60s today. Tonight, clear and comfortable, the low at 51. Tomorrow and Wednesday, nice days, bright sunshine, the high both days, 73 degrees. Guys, you know, it still may rain today out on the east end of Long Island.
It may rain today.
Still may get a couple of showers before it clears out.
The east end of Long Island.
And, of course, being that lilac season in full bloom, you could do your forecasting by looking at the bushes.
What?
Lilac bushes.
Look at the bush.
Well, you know, when they show the underside of their leaves and the whole shrub
Who's
looks a
this?
little lighter. The lilac.
Oh, the lilac.
The lilac.
Yes. Gee, you don't believe what I thought you meant there.
Well, it just means that the relative humidity is up and the stalks are softened and the leaves are turning over, and
Now,
that means
whoa, hold
it's
it,
gonna
hold
rain.
it. A damp bush and softened
Shrub.
stalks? Shrub. Well, make up your mind. Is it a
Plant,
bush or a
Brian.
shrub? What about the stalks?
On the leaves.
What about them?
Well, they get soft
I know
in
that.
the humidity,
Yes.
which usually comes before it'll rain.
Most things do.
You know what they say?
A soft stalk.
I don't
there's
wanna
no,
hear-
Yeah, there's no moss.
No, it's not the heat, it's the humidity.
Is that what that is?
Yeah, I guess. 58 degrees in Scotch
Would
Plains.
you like to go into a few more details about this? I think maybe our audience may be a little confused.
Well, I'll let you read the card, Brian. 54 degrees in New City.
Let me get the picture now.
Well, you got a soft stalk with an underside leaf.
Well,
when you have when your bush gets damp, you know it's going to rain.
No. When it gets humid, when
When the air gets humid,
the leaves,
atmospheric pressure.
the underside of the leaves turn face up, so that you see the lighter bottom leaves
Falling barometer.
instead of the top
All right,
darker
let me see.
side.
When your bottom turns up, you know your bush is
No,
going to
no,
get
no,
damp.
no.
Is that that's not it either?
I think it's hopeless, Raza.
I quite frankly don't understand this at all.
Just side it off.
Yeah, 61 degrees in New York
It
City.
was a lot easier on the chicken farm, I'll tell you that.
I want to hear about chickens.
Oh.
I'm Rasa K, WABC.
See, back there,
Radar weather.
the roll in the hay was when you had the chicken.
There ain't no good in our goodbye.
Now, wait a minute. I didn't get finished talking about the roll in the hay. See, that was an old farmer's trick that was...
True love takes a lot of trying.
No, you see, here's what happened. You take the chicken...
Oh, I'm crying.
I'm not going to get this in before this guy starts singing in earnest. 77 WABC, 846, 14 minutes away from 9 o'clock, 14 till 9 on your nearly famous Ross and Wilson show. Well, there you have one of the great ones.
I'm in mourning.
You're what?
Yes, I'm in mourning. You know my favorite musical group.
Hibiscus and the Screaming Violet.
Yes. Well, Hibiscus was the stage name of George Harris, 32 years old. He died Thursday. And so
terrible.
now I'm in mourning. His sisters, the Screaming Violets.
Well, that whole is a very musical family, as I
Yes.
recall the story.
Well, that's true.
Everyone was involved. Yeah.
Lulabelle, Eloise, and Jane Ann.
The Screaming Violets.
Will go on, and they have a benefit which was originally planned to help him with his medical bills. That's going on as scheduled next Sunday at 9 o'clock at the Danceteria. I will be there and wearing black.
I think you ought to. Well, I think you ought to wear violet.
Well,
it's 8:47, 13 minutes away from 9 o'clock.
We'll be
on
right
your
back.
Nearly famous Ross and Wilson show.
After this.
The totally redesigned Toyota Supra. We asked legendary racing driver Dan Gurney to take a new 1982 Supra around California's Laguna Seca Raceway.
I've been just driving the dickens out of it, right on the limit, and it's amazing.
Maybe part of the Supra mystique is that racing-type twin-cam fuel-injected engine.
One of the few that have ever been mass-produced. It's a very smooth engine to me.
And as a race car designer, Dan liked the way Supra's twin-cam engine, four-wheel independent suspension, and ventilated disc brakes are so well balanced.
They are in harmony, and they remain in harmony even when you're pushing pushing the limit.
Inside, Supra has an 8-way adjustable sports seat, full instrumentation.
It just reeks of quality when you get in it.
Well, reeks isn't exactly the word we would have used, but we're glad Dan likes the Supra.
Now that's the right stuff.
Supra.
In the June issue of Penthouse, home run king Reggie Jackson goes to bat as automobile editor. Owner of some of the world's most spectacular cars, Jackson test drives, comments, and reports on the newest grand slams in the auto world. Ted Turner says TV has struck out. In an exclusive Penthouse interview, cable network czar Turner, outspoken and flamboyant owner of the record-breaking Atlanta Braves, lashes out at network television's lousy programming and gross inefficiency. And 10 professional gigolos tell you how to make love to a woman. Then some more playoff action. This month in Penthouse, the Pet of the Year playoff. All hitters, no losers. Plus, Penthouse uncovers more startling facts involving the treatment of mental patients. Read Electroshock. The horror continues. And much more action in the June issue of Penthouse magazine. Penthouse on sale everywhere.
I got my copy in the mail the other day.
Yes. I got mine, too, but Brian was unusual. This Christmas, he forgot, and he gave me not only a subscription to Penthouse, but one to Playboy, too.
Is that why I got both bills?
Yes.
Oh, I never could figure that out.
Yes.
I thought because I got the Playboy bill first, and I paid that. Then about a month later, I get one from Penthouse with your name on it. I said, didn't I just pay this?
Did you?
But I paid it anyway.
Did you read the Ted Turner interview in Penthouse?
Yeah, boy, I tell you, Bob Guccione, all you guys over at Penthouse, but did you get buffaloed? Everyone thinks it was such a scintillating interview. That was just Ted's standard networks be damned interview.
That's right.
He always gives that interview. Lousy programming, sex and violence, degradation of the American morals.
That's right.
Ted's got a little tape recorder in his vest pocket where he just pushes the button and moves his lips. and that's the way he does that interview now.
It's your Ross and Wilson show.
Did I tell you I saw Ted the other day?
No, you
Yeah,
didn't.
he's around.
Really?
He's got a record out.
I didn't know that.
He's got a record out. It's really terrible. I'll bring it in. You can hear it for yourself. It's a really record.
All right, it is.
Steve McFarlane had a record out once.
Really?
That didn't sell either.
10 minutes before 9 o'clock.
Instead, he got into radio and is doing the excellent job of doing our sports here.
Here is Steve with Yankee Replay.
Thank you very much. It's nice of you to say.
A lot of good comments out on the street about you.
Yeah.
And I told all the girls it was really nice of them to say so.
Thank you.
And they went back to 42nd Street.
That's enough. That's enough. That's it. Thank you very much. This is Yankee Replay, brought to you by your New York, New Jersey Subaru crew. In Seattle last night, the Yankees winners over the Mariners 3-0. Tommy John, the winner, going 8 innings, allowing just 4 hits and no runs. He's 2-4 on the season now. The Goose, Rich Gossage, pitched the 9th. He struck out the side. The big hit, a 2-run home run off the bat of one of the more disgruntled Yankees, Oscar Gamble.
Deep to right field. That ball is gone. No doubt about that. Oscar Gamble has just hit his first home run of the year, deep in the seats in right center field, and the Yankees now lead 3-0.
All was not good news for the boys in pinstripes. Center fielder Jerry Mumphrey broke his thumb diving for Al Cowan's triple in the 7th inning. It's not known yet how long Mumphrey will be out. Tonight, the Yanks are in California to meet the Angels and Reggie Jackson. Dave Righetti is scheduled to go against Jeff Zahn. All the action right here on your New York Yankee station, starting with Frank Messer's pregame show at 10:15. I'm Steve McPartlin. I'll be back with more. That's Yankee Replay. I'm Steve McPartlin. I'll be back with more sports.
Give the guy a compliment and the whole thing falls apart.
After this word from Subaru.
Well, summer's coming, and that's good news, because the Subaru Crew's got a car for you. Head for the hills or visit the beach. Every place is well within reach, inexpensive to buy, and built to stay that way. Your Subaru drives you through the day. What you're looking for isn't hard to find when you keep the Subaru Crew in mind. The Subaru Crew's got a car for you. Want a wagon, a hatchback, a brat? The Subaru Crew's got a car for you. Take your choice of front-wheel drive or on-demand four-wheel drive, with loads of standard features and options like tilt steering wheels, power windows, and power steering. Your New York, New Jersey Subaru dealer's got a car for you today.
You'll get quite a reception when you arrive at your Subaru dealer to go for a drive. How do you do from Subaru? Yeah, you pull through with the Subaru Crew.
Triangle Subaru in Long Island City and Mount Kisco Subaru in Bedford Hills are part of the Subaru Crew.
Welcome. through with the Subaru crew.
The Mets were also winners at Shea yesterday afternoon. Rusty Staub's solo home run in the bottom of the ninth inning with 2 out was the winning margin, 6-5 over the Giants. Dave Kingman also homered in that game. Sky King has 11 round trippers on the year, and that leads the majors. NBA playoffs, it was Boston over Philadelphia by 40 points and Los Angeles over San Antonio by 11. Boston and L.A. have a 1-game-to-none lead. Tennis, Yvonne Lendl, the winner of the Tournament of Champions at Forest Hills. Boxing, Ray Leonard underwent successful surgery yesterday to repair a detached retina in his left eye. The welterweight champ's career is certainly in jeopardy. I'm Steve McPartland, 77 WABC Sports.
Boston?
Yeah, there's that name again.
1, 2,
Right. It's 8:53, 7 minutes away from 9 o'clock. At 9 o'clock, of course, all the latest news.
Yes, a big budget, and Mayor Koch says it will be balanced.
Yeah, or else.
Yes, yeah, that's right. And so that's the news. John Maher will have those stories and more right before the last Dan Ingram, Ron Lundy show.
That's right. Ron and Dan doing their version of Swan Lake this morning at about 10 minutes after 9.
Really?
Westbound LIE absolutely packed all the way to the tanks. Traffic very heavy from the Cross Island to 168th Street, tied up from LaGuardia onto the Triborough because of earlier problems there. 59th Street Bridge is much better than all that, especially the upper deck. Let's see what else we have for you. 15-minute wait into the tolls at the Queens Midtown Tunnel. The the Throgs Neck and Whitestone Bridges, both 20-minute waits into the tolls. Northbound Whitestone Expressway, very congested from Linden to Whitestone Bridge. A better route would be to take Clearview Expressway to the Throgs Neck Bridge. Eastbound on the Staten Island Expressway, heavy traffic for 3 miles, a half-hour wait onto the Verrazano Bridge. Big bad news over in Nueva Jersey, here, inbound George Washington Bridge. Southbound Pip, 30 to 40-minute wait. Routes 80 to 95, half-hour wait. Best approaches from routes 4 and 46, that's only a 15-minute delay. At the Holland inbound, 45-minute delays. Routes 1 and 9, 25-minute delays from the Turnpike. The Lincoln Tunnel, 15-minute is averaging 30 to 35-minute waits over there. So it's big problems getting into Nueva York from Nueva Jersey this morning. And Joe Nolan will have more of all the gruesome details in about 10 minutes, right before Ron and Dan here on your nearly famous Ross and Wilson show.
Don't forget, if you're out around town, comedian Marcia Lewis, Miss Hannigan in the stage show Annie, will be at Club Ibis tonight.
H-A-R-R-I.
Double N-I.
Spells Harrigan.
Hannigan.
Hannigan, right.
Hannigan.
That's what I meant, Hannigan.
It's over on East 50th Street.
Hannigan.
The weather, a mixture of bright sun and clouds. The clouds this morning should be clearing by noon, and we'll have sun and a high of 72. That's Ross Kay's radar weather forecast tonight. Clear to partly cloudy, a low around 51 degrees, and currently 55 in New York on your nearly famous Ross and Wilson show.
A recommendation is a powerful thing. It is your own personal reputation extended to and held in trust by another. Recommendations are anxiously sought, sparingly given. So to be given a recommendation unhesitatingly, that is remarkable. As happened in a recent independent survey among the international business travelers of the world's largest corporations, the most exacting judges in the world. The survey found Lufthansa as the #1 airline among those most often recommended to other business travelers. Lufthansa, the airline of international business. A reputation earned on 6 continents in 71 countries and 123 cities around the world. Lufthansa.
Lufthansa has daily flights to Frankfurt, Dusseldorf, Hamburg, and Munich, with improved sleeper seats for all first-class passengers. Call Lufthansa or your travel agent.
We watch our P's and Q's at A&P. P is for prices lower than low.
Look for the green price signs.
Q is for quality in every store.
We've got great specials every week.
Low prices, high quality, that's our recipe.
The more green specials you see, the more smiles I see.
Come on in, we'll watch our P's and Q's.
This week you'll find green price specials on fresh, boneless chicken cutlets, $1.89 a pound. Pick up 3 pounds of golden ripe bananas for just $1. And A&P slashes prices on frozen potatoes. Get a 5-pound bag of A&P frozen French fries, regular or crinkle cut, just $1.99. Savings are always in season with green price specials from A&P.
Come on in, we'll watch our P's and Q's.
Available in all stores in the Metro New York, New Jersey, and Long Island area.
8:57, 3 minutes away from 9 o'clock on the nearly famous Ross and Wilson show, and that just about wraps it up.
The day the music died.
Well, not really. It is true that our new programming will begin at noon today.
Yes.
Ron Lundy and Dan Ingram will be in shortly to do the last 3 hours here on WABC, and I got to say that it's a very bittersweet type of situation here to be part of what is, in our business at least, a major happening.
Yes,
really.
we worked all our careers to get to a place like WABC, the music station, the preeminent music station, and it's kind of mixed feelings that it goes talk.
Well, like Bob Dylan said, the times they are a-changin'. You'll be happy to know that our show will stay virtually intact, with one minor exception. We will move over to Eastern Daylight Time.
That's right.
And spring ahead tomorrow to be on the air from 6 to 10.
We'll still be playing music.
We'll still be having our scintillating, off-color, ribald jokes.
Yes.
Dealing with provocative material and so on. Ruth Gordon tomorrow, Jack Anderson on Wednesday, Nicholas Deke
of Deke
Pereira on Friday. Next week, Pia Zadora, Sophia Loren, Bridget Bardot, all those wonderful people. Of course, I will not be here.
No,
and neither will they. I thought it only appropriate that we end our show here with one of the great Beatles tunes that made WABC the station it was in the 60s.
77 WABC. It's been a ball being in Music Radio at 9 o'clock. Time for the news. It's a big budget, and Mayor Koch says it will be balanced. Here's John Maher.
Ross, Mayor Koch is scheduled to be briefing the City Council even as we speak on his new $15 billion budget. Koch will meet with reporters at City Hall in about 1 hour from now. Good morning. It's 63 degrees and sunny in New York. This is the 9 o'clock edition on WABC, New York's radio station. His Honor claims it's a balanced budget, but there are a few built-in uncertainties. One is the fact that a decision by the New York State Senate last week not to override nearly $1 billion in carry budget vetoes leaves a gap of $125 million in aid to education on which the city had counted. State lawmakers so far have failed to do anything about a state takeover of local Medicaid costs, and that means $145 million in state money that's not available and may not be available. Next, Ross Gay with a rundown on our Monday weather.
We have some sun and clouds today all around the area. More sun inland and more gray sky way out east on Long Island. Temperatures will range through the 60s to about 72 in New York City. So you won't need more than just a sweater today, but you will need those sunglasses, especially later on. 59 degrees at WABC with a complete forecast coming up after the news. John?
Thank you, Rossa. Today's sentencing day for State Senator William Musto and 7 co-defendants in Newark Federal Court. Musto, who's up for re-election tomorrow as mayor of Union City, and his co-defendants are accused of swapping influence for money from a mob-dominated construction firm. The tax evasion trial of Sung Myung Moon, the Korean evangelist, resumes within the hour in Manhattan Federal Court. The prosecution and defense begin their summations. Moon's accused of evading taxes on $158,000 worth of interest earned from a bank account of $1.6 million, an account which was, says the prosecution, in his name and under Moon's personal control. The defense says the money was used for Unification Church purposes only and not subject to taxation. It's an issue the jury will decide. After months of behind-the-scenes wrangling, New York lawmakers today begin action on a redistricting agreement intended to head off a federal court's threat to impose its own election lines for the legislature. The houses are scheduled to vote tomorrow on the congressional redistricting plan, which cuts 5 seats from the current 39. Despite the apparently successful surgery to reattach a torn retina, it'll be months before welterweight Sugar Ray Leonard will know whether he'll be able to fight again. Because of the operation, Leonard's fight with Roger Stafford in Buffalo is postponed indefinitely, and the Buffalo Chamber of Commerce calls it devastating. That cancellation will mean losses of some $2 million. WABC News Time, 3 minutes after 9. Action in the Falklands crisis.
Dear Ron, it has been only 2 nights to open your show every day, and I am sorry this is the last, but there is no way I'll say goodbye, love. Au revoir, mon amour.
No jingle?
Why, of course it'll be the same. My goodness. Hello, love. It is 9:14. It's 77 WABC. That's Ron Lundy in the greatest city in the world. Good morning, Mr. Ingram.
Good morning, Mr. Lundy.
How are you, sir? I'm fine.
I'm in pain, that's how I am. I'm not used to being up this early in the morning. I haven't gone into the city before 10 o'clock in the morning in years.
Dan, I've never seen you up this early in the morning.
I've never been up this early in the morning, but I had a great breakfast. I had a dozen oysters and a half a bottle of Beaujolais, and I'm feeling real good.